Well, the pipe is already perforated. They know because of these plumes that are coming up as much as 20 miles away, which the, AA now is admitting to, and they wouldn't admit to before. There's no way you can stop this because all you do is just open up that pipe even further down the line somewhere and you still get the plumes out at a distance.
All right, I appreciate your call. Anything else, Andrew? All right, I want to hear more about that system. By the way, this is up on prisonplanet.com right now. And, of course, that deals with the fact that the head of BP, actually have the article here in front of me. Let me pull it back up because I can't find it now. Oh, here it is. BP aware of cracks in oil well 2 months before explosion. Former BP chairman and current BP CEO both dumped stocks in weeks before disaster. BP was aware of cracks appearing in the well as far back as February, right around the time Goldman Sachs and BP chairman Tony Hayward were busy dumping their stock in the company on the eve of the explosion that led to the oil spill, according to information uncovered by congressional investigators. The Mining and Mineral Service Agency released documents to Bloomberg indicating that BP was trying to seal cracks in the well almost 40 miles, 64 kilometers off the Louisiana coast. This is big news up on prisonplanet.com. This is confirmed. Bloomberg. The fissures, which BP began to attempt to fix on February 13th, could have played a role in the disaster, though this is a question still being explored by investigators. But that would show where the plumes are coming from. And it just continues. Very important piece of intel. More of your phone calls straight ahead for Lindsey Williams. We'll be right back. Stay with us. The only way to listen to the show when it officially ends in about 5 minutes, we're going to continue for about 20, is at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com. You go there, click on the listen stream, and you'll be able to hear the show. We'll also have this as part of the MP3 free podcast. You can also go download for free our iPhone app to listen to the podcast or the live streams at Infowars.com on the listen page. And I know we have loaded phones, and we are taking calls in the next 20 minutes with Lindsey Williams. I'm going to be able to go to a few of your calls now, but I want to give you an opportunity to call my phone system here in Austin, Texas, 888-201-2244. For those that are on hold right now, who we don't have time to get to in a moment, it'll be 888-201-2244, 888-201-2244. We're talking to Lindsey Williams, and he put out an emergency CD, audio CD, with all the information that his source inside the oil companies gave him. But so much of what Lindsey's talked about has now been borne out in mainstream news, and it clearly the oil companies, BP and Halliburton are involved in a cover-up. This is very, very serious. And Obama's using it to try to pass carbon taxes on the American people, which BP's been the biggest supporter of. So I want to encourage everybody to call and get that audio CD. And you can go to the Prophecy Club website or call a toll-free number. Give folks that contact info again, Mr. Williams.
The toll-free number and the operator standing by right now, American Voices, by the way, 888-799-6111, or go to Prophecy Club on the internet. Be sure and spell that with a C, PROPHECYCLUB.com, or 888-799-6111. Now, we will be updating this documentary probably every 2 weeks. Things are happening so rapidly. And please, I beg of you, my DVDs and CDs are not copywritten. Did you?
Yeah, we got to get them out to folks. Well, Lindsey, we're almost out of time. We're almost out of time here right at the end. I want to jam in some more calls. Let's talk to Grant in PA. You're on the air. Go ahead, Grant.
Hi, Alex. I would like to, I have a question for Lindsey Williams, and I'd like to say that I choose not to believe that 9/11 was not an inside job just because our government says so, because it scientifically doesn't seem to make sense that the buildings could have fallen that fast just by being hit by the planes alone. I also choose not to believe that anyone has ever walked on water or come back to life after being dead for 3 days, because scientifically that's absolutely ridiculous. I'd also like to add to that that I used to be a Christian myself, and I would recommend everyone listening to this to go
listen, I'm going to put you on hold here. And look, I mean, I only do this maybe once or twice a week. We have a guest on, and I say I want it to be on topic if you have questions for the guest, and then people deliberately talk about anything but that, and I don't understand it. So I'm going to, from now on, I let people go. When we're on a topic, we're having a discussion on a topic, it's insanity. And you can get mad at me if you want. I mean, if you called in, Grant, on a regular day when it's just open phones and wanted to say that, that's fine. We don't screen your calls. But, I mean, it's ridiculous that other callers are left on hold so you can talk about that. James, Hunter, and others, if you want to talk to Lindsey Williams and ask him a question or make a comment about the oil spill, or you're in Louisiana or Mississippi, Florida, you've got comments. If you're having respiratory problems, we want to hear from you. 888-201-2244. We're going into an extended Infowars.com audio stream and PrisonPlanet.tv video stream coverage of the oil spill. You want it, you got it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing about 20 minutes or so of Overdrive today. Pastor Lindsey Williams is our guest. I really appreciate him breaking his intel with us a week and a half ago here on air. He's in high demand around the country, but back with us today to give us any new developments. I want to go to Brian, Jerry, Dave, and others that are patiently holding. If you've got a comment for Lindsey Williams, a question, or you want to talk about the oil spill and Obama's response to it, and where you see all this going, 888-201-2244, 888-201-2244, and we'll get you up and on the air. Lindsey, before we go to Brian, Jerry, Dave, Dick, and others, please, any other information that you forgot to cover, or what your source told you about the oil spill, or where you see this going, anything else you haven't gotten to before we go to calls?
Where I see it going, I think this is very important. They say that there's no possibility of them doing anything about this for at least 4 months. Can you comprehend a doubling what's already been done in the way of disaster taking place within the next 4 months' time? They say in order to angle drill down to attempt to put a nuclear device, if they even are willing to do it, because, and they say in order to do that, there's 4 months involved in doing it, and they haven't even started yet. So this means that you're going to have a continued process of what's taking place right now for at least that period of time. And then, as my sources originally told me, scared. I mean, I could actually hear the fear in their voices when they said the only alternative is a nuclear device. And they said, but we don't like that idea. I said, why? They said, because if we fracture this strata that has such tremendous pressure, then he said there will never be any stopping of it. And he said, we don't even want to think about that. Well, neither do I. To never stop this oil from coming out into the Gulf of Mexico, I mean, this is unthinkable. It would be a disaster such as the world could never even imagine. All right, secondly, there is no need for any of this. None of this should have ever happened. We have on our own soil in North and South Dakota and Montana the Bakken oil reserve. It has already been put in the congressional record. The congressmen know it's there. And the only thing that is keeping this oil on the land, not in the Gulf of Mexico or in the waters, from being produced, Congress won't let them. They're crazy. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's 8 times as much oil as Saudi Arabia, 18 times as much oil as Iraq, 21 times as much oil as Kuwait, 22 times as much oil as Iran, 500 times as much oil as Yemen. We have it on our own soil, on the land. They could begin drilling any day they want to. It is not a super deep well, and they know that we have a supply, and we didn't have to do this in the Gulf of Mexico, Alex.
Well, those are really pertinent points that you make, Lindsey, and it's the type of thing that the media loves because it just goes on every day with new facets and new information. It becomes a soap opera, but it's a real-world soap opera destroying sea turtles and dolphins and fisheries and fishermen's lives, and the people involved in the cleanups are getting sick from the dispersants and the oil. You got volcanoes going off in Iceland, shutting down air traffic, and you've got depression and countries falling and this quickening, accelerating, very, very bizarre. to see this unfolding. Let's hurry now through your calls. I want to thank everybody for calling in and for holding. Brian in Ohio, welcome. You're on the air.
How's it going, Alex?
Good, sir. Go ahead.
Alex mentioned a few months ago that the elite tell their story through movies. And supposedly, in the movie The Knowing, that there was a mention of an oil spill or an explosion April 20th. Well, if there's any correlation with that.
Well, there's a lot of movies and a lot of TV shows where the globalists do predictive programming where they throw in your face what they're planning to do later as kind of an inside joke to themselves as a calling card, but also to subconsciously prepare you for it to happen. And there's hundreds of examples, but the best example is the fact that 6 months before 9/11, the Lone Gunman, a spinoff of the X-Files, the CIA contacted Chris Carter and others, and I was told this by Dean Haglund, star of the show,